Hey Taurus, this is your look at the astrology of May 2021. My name is Katie Sweetman, and this is Empowering Astrology. So happy birthday, Taurus. It's your season. So here we are. It's another year, and boy, has a lot changed. I think it's important just to kind of check in on some major points. Number one, apart from the fact that it's your birthday season, Uranus is in Taurus. This is something that I've been talking about in last month's horoscopes. I've been talking about in the writing I've been doing on the Facebook Lives and the replays that I do every week. You can also check that out on my YouTube channel. But here's what this means for you, Taurus. You are in total 6-7 year story of completely reinventing yourself and reinventing your life. Here's what you need to understand, Taurus, is that you are the sign that likes to keep things nice and stable and easy. Those are wonderful traits. In fact, they're necessary so that life can sort of flourish. That's what you are. You are the sign of fertility, for example. But Uranus is the planet of awakenings, revolution, reinventions, and all I have to do is point you back to 2018, 2019, and I'm pretty sure you're like, oh, wait, life is very different. The things that were stable and rooted and grounded maybe are not rooted and grounded, or they're in a very different place, or the earth beneath your feet is still shaking. You're thinking, oh my God, I got more years of this? Well, here's what Uranus wants. Not to turn our lives upside down to be, for as a punitive reason, but Uranus is trying to get you just to be yourself. And maybe, I don't know, Taurus, maybe you're in your way to some degree. It could be stubbornness. It could be just a need to kind of hold on to the past. But Uranus is not a very sentimental planet. And it's saying if you are in your way because you're holding on to the past or you're resisting change, here, let me help. And maybe that was April for you. Maybe April moved the goalposts. I got some Taurus friends. I know that they've sort of been making these personal changes, or there's a move or what have you. So yes, it's a birthday season. Make a wish. And with Venus, your planet, things are going to start to move towards Gemini. In fact, Mercury goes into Gemini on May 3rd, followed by Venus, your planet, on May 8th. Gemini actually has a little bit more of a connection to Taurus than we realize. Gemini is Taurus's second sign, and Taurus is the second sign. This teaches us that Taurus likes to accumulate. It likes to gather resources and have things in multiples. So there's this focus as you go into the that first chunk of May, where it is about material stability, the things you own, the things you need, the money you spend, money in the bank, how you earn a living. And maybe that's where a lot of your attention is going, after May 3rd, May 8th. Especially as we get to that Taurus new moon. Yeah, you're going to have a new moon in your sign on May 11th. I had to look at it for a second. So May 11th, if it's your birthday, May 11th plus or minus a couple of days, this is a powerful new moon for you. You sort of get this personal reset, and it says that for you, May 11th babies, or plus or minus a few days, you are going to have this big new year ahead of you. But for the rest of you, you have this moment to sort of reset the year, to make intentions, to sort of blow out, kind of make some wishes and blow out the candles, so to speak. But that's your sort of personal renewal. And I think that if your birthday is before May 11th, maybe you're kind of feeling like it's a little bit more low key. You're like reflecting on the past. You're thinking of the things that you need to shift and move, let go, or maybe you're thinking of the things that you're resisting. Before that new moon, we are actually right after that new moon. Sorry about that. After that new moon, Jupiter will go into Pisces. So here's a couple of things to kind of recap. Since the end of 2020, both Jupiter and Saturn have been in what's called your career sign. So Aquarius is your career sign. So this has been a natural time for you to focus on your professional life, to make job changes, career changes, to maybe get clear and define what type of career or what type of role you want to play in the world. Saturn's a little bit no nonsense. It's like, what are we doing, Taurus? What's the career we want to do? What's the title we want after our name? And maybe you've been working hard since the end of 2020. Jupiter has a tendency to open doors. It kind of makes it a little bit easier, although you could argue that Jupiter in the same sign as Saturn, it can't quite spread its wings, so to speak. But it's going to move out of your career sign on May 13th. And when it goes into Pisces on May 13th, it's going to start to focus some things on community, friends, your social networks, your social circle. I know that this has been a really interesting past 12 months since your last birthday, and maybe it's a good time to reconnect with your friends and sort of check up where is everybody after the last 12 months that we've lived. Jupiter tends to make things grow and expand, and it's right at home in Pisces. We'd say in astrology that Jupiter is ruled by Pisces. So this is a time where maybe your social circle is growing, maybe you're getting more involved in groups and communities. And I realize that we can't quite do things the way that we were doing them in 2019, beginning of 2020, but this involves virtual communities as well. I think that this is a time that's also going to start to give you a little bit more of an awareness of the world around you, and maybe you're thinking about goals for the future, your hopes and dreams, or maybe because it's Pisces, you want to get involved in your community. You want to do something altruistic that's going to help others. And Taurus is a sign that really does have a big heart and does want to help its community, help its friends, and help the world around it. And Jupiter going into Pisces also is a reminder that we're going to start having eclipses this month. That's later this month, not to get ahead of myself, but yes, we have that new moon in Taurus that opens a new lunar month that will be later punctuated by a lunar eclipse. So I think once we get past that new moon, things are going to start to shake and shift. And that new moon does talk about wealth and abundance, the one that's on the 11th, sorry, I keep getting the date wrong. On the 11th of May, yes, it's talking about wealth and abundance and really asking what is true wealth and what is true abundance. And sometimes we accumulate things, but for what? What is it really worth? What is it really of value? After Jupiter goes into Pisces on the 13th, the sun will go into Gemini, and we will start Gemini season. And that's sort of this other thing where we're going to start to feel the eclipse energy. So just to recap what eclipses are, they happen every 6 months. They sort of move along the narrative of our lives. It says it's time for change and transformation. And Taurus, to be fair, you're not a sign that typically wants a lot of change, but nevertheless, it's happening. Sort of the things are starting to build up. Maybe you're starting to feel the pressure. Maybe life is starting to shift and move. One of the things that's shifting and moving is Saturn. It's turning retrograde on May 23rd at 13 degrees of Aquarius. If you remember a few moments ago, I said Saturn's been in your career sign, and there's been some shifts this year in your professional life. Maybe you left a job, maybe you got a job, maybe you're thinking about a career reinvention or transformation. But I think that there's some pressure on your career, on your professional life as you go into latter part of this month. And if you've been contemplating a big change, Saturn turning retrograde actually might be a little bit of a trigger. And I think another trigger will be in June 14th. So you're really wanting to make some big moves in your professional life, but you're also a Taurus, or maybe you're kind of feeling like you can't make a lot of big risks at the moment. So there's this weird dichotomy right now. It's like you know that there are things that need to change, and maybe you're actually starting to move in that direction, but there's this push and pull throughout different points of 2021. And I think May, June is one of those points. And so if you need that career invention, if you need something to shift, I would really work with that energy when Saturn turns retrograde on May 23rd. A few days later, we have that eclipse that I've been sort of foreshadowing. It's a lunar eclipse, and it's at 5 degrees of Sagittarius. So for you, Taurus, Sagittarius is your sign of finance, wealth. It's resources, but it's resources on a larger scale. It's the stuff that you share with other people. It's your partner's money. It's your benefits, your portfolio. But it's also the things that make you feel vulnerable, the things that really stir up a lot of fears inside of you. It's like, do I have enough? Am I safe? Am I secure? I think that this full moon, in a way, pairs with this other bigger period of time that you're in, the one that we've been talking about, Taurus, where you need to reinvent yourself. And if you need to reinvent yourself, and that's bringing up a lot of emotional conflict inside, how do you resolve that? Is it faith? Jupiter will be in Pisces at that time. Is it making sure that you have the friends to support you, as you make these big shifts in your life, or maybe it's needing to answer bigger existential questions. But then later this month, Mercury turns retrograde. So just a little side note, because Mercury is one of your money planets, and because this time is so much about resource and what you own, if you're making any big purchases this month, just try to do it before Mercury turns retrograde, or just maybe hold off for a couple of months. You have to decide what's right for you. Of course, my astrological concern is that when Mercury turns retrograde, you don't, like, if you thought something was a certain value, then maybe you're learning that it's not a value, or maybe you're getting more information, or maybe there's just not the clarity that you need until after Mercury turns direct later in June. So that's just a little bit of something to put on your radar. I'm typically not somebody who gets really worked up about Mercury retrograde because it happens so frequently, but we know we do need to do our due diligence. So just be aware that if you're making any big purchases this month, Taurus, maybe just wait. I don't know. I typically am a little bit cautious when it comes to money, maybe because I'm a Scorpio, I'm a money sign, but you, again, have to feel what's right for you. So there you go, Taurus. That is your look at the astrology of May 2021. Again, happy birthday. Yes, it's a big time for you, Taurus. Yes, life is sort of pushing and pulling at you this month. So again, my name is Katie Sweetman. I'm an astrologer and psychic medium here in Brooklyn, New York. You can follow me online at empoweringastrology.com. Follow me on Instagram, on Facebook. You can subscribe to this YouTube channel, and you can also book a consultation with me. So until next month, take care. Bye.